So, good morning or good night, depending on where you are in the world. And welcome to another album review of The Shield Dude on a Couch. I'm your host, Hector. And today we're talking about the ninth album by the band Seether, and it's called The Surface Seems So Far. So, Seether is a band originally from South Africa, and they've been around since the late 90s to the early 2000s. And they were lumping that post grunge type of sound with bands like Trap, Nickelback, and many others. But Sealer to me is a band that I've always enjoyed. I think, there's some albums from there that I enjoyed more than others, but they've always been consistent. And a lot of people got to know the band when they did that Broken single with Amy Lee from Evanescence because their lead singer, Sean Morgan, used to date her. And it's a great track. But after that, they kept releasing very good albums. And I've enjoyed most of their material. So on this album, it's 11 tracks, 49 minutes in length. The band is dealing with typical subject matter with they're dealing with loss, like uh feelings of like anguish, because this record was actually produced and done during the COVID lockdowns. And at that those 18 months, also his Sean Morgan's wife had a third child. So all of that came into play when they were writing the record. Also, it's worth noting that they released an album in the pandemic. So on an interview that I was reading, Sean Morgan claims that, after they released that album and lockdowns happens, he was like feeling, like very anxious because he didn't know if he could make a living as a musician. So all of that like doubt, fears crept into the album. Put that, a lockdown and having a new baby in that situation, and you can understand. As a father, I can relate. I know what it feels like. So it's very relatable subject material for the band. And it's worth noting that this is the third album that Sean Morgan produces. He's been producing their last records. So that's something that he's done. And he also said on an interview that he learned a lot about producing with Brendan O'Brien, who produced two of the records in the 2010s. So that's how who he looked up to when came time to producing. So yeah, this album, 11 tracks, and it's an album that really has no acoustic tracks, which is something that is almost like a first for the band because they always had acoustic tracks on a lot of their tracks, but not on this one. So the first single, Judas Mine, is actually the album opener. And I listened to the single when it came out a few months ago, and I thought it was a very good track. It had a more aggressive tone to it. And their last albums have been more aggressive in nature. So I think this keeps in touch with those two albums and brings the aggression to it. But also, they don't ever shy away from melody. The second track, which is the second single that they released, Illusion, the start of that song really reminded me of, it sounded like Tool or A Perfect Circle, especially the way that Sean is singing. And it's a mid-paced rocker with some great guitars on it. And I really like it. And it's, the themes are all about, living, in this world that it's an illusion. You don't know what's real. And, you have like almost cabin fever when you're stuck inside. The next track that follows is Beneath the Veil. And my only nitpick with that track is that the beginning sounds so low in the mix that you can't hear anything until like the 14-second mark when the guitar comes in. And, it's a more mid-pace rocker. They never shied away to doing that mid-pace type of song. But again, more great choruses. Then the self-loathing and doubt creep back with the next song, Semblance of Me, which is all about like looking at yourself and like, I'm like, is this me? Does this resemble me? I don't even know myself when I look in the mirror. So it's very relatable because who hasn't felt that way? That sometimes you don't feel like yourself, and you know you start to doubt yourself. So it's pretty relatable subject matter, great lyrics to that song. And then you have a song that is, I think it's one of my favorites on the record, called "Walls Come Down," and it's all about, like when the pressure is so much that you feel like everything's crumbling on top of you. So yeah, you may say like this could be generic lyrics, or they been written before, but you know what? Sean Morgan is a very uh, relatable writer, and it sounds very honest and from the heart, and that's why I think it's good writing and not corny. Then you have a song that is called "Try to Heal," which is obviously, he keeps with the theme of, like, you're trying to heal through all your experiences and try to see if you can come like out a winner at the end. But then the band has a more aggressive song with "Paint the World," and that's all about like aggression, great guitar riffs. There's some good guitar riffs on this record, and it's a song that feels more like immediate, and it really picks up the pace of the record, even though the record is never loses pace. Then you have a song called "Same Mistakes," a great chorus, and again, more relatable lyrics about, it doesn't matter what you do, you keep doing the same mistake, regurgitating the same old shit. So it like goes full circle. And who cannot relate to doing same mistakes? Everyone has mistakes. And I think this song is Sean trying to say, like, yeah, I make the same mistakes, but I'm trying to not do them. So it's like his conscience telling them, like, please do not fuck up again. Then you have two songs that are more, again, more aggressive, with "Lost All Control" and "Dead on the Vine." "Dead on the Vine," I think, is one of the best tracks on the record, and it really has that great mix of like aggression and melody to it, which is something that Seether has always done well. And they end the record with a song called "Regret." And there's a line in there, it's saying about, like, love isn't always what it seems. Sometimes love is anger, sometimes love is pain. So it's all about, regretting, maybe mistreating one's partner, or regretting how you might have come off in some different situations. And it's a song that starts more mid-paced but gets more rocking at the end. A great solo to it, and it's a great way to end this record. So this is not a concept record per se, but it's a record that follows like the same type of themes. And it's something that Seether has done in the past, but I think the strong suits of this record are the lyrics and the pacing. They did a great job in like putting like all the songs, like, it's not like you say like the first songs are great and then it takes a dip. This album never took a dip for me. And I think all 11 tracks, they could have released any track from this album and it could have been a single, because they're all that good. My only complaint and nitpick with this record is a little bit on the production side, because sometimes I feel that the music sounds too loud and the vocals sound buried. And other times I feel like the vocals are too loud and the music is buried. So that's a minor problem that I have with this album. And I also spoke to my friend Chili from Live Listening Erase, because he's in Australia, so he listened to this first, and he said that he enjoyed it, but he also found that problem. So I want to know from you, Cultures, did you think that in the production, and it's good that Sean Morgan is producing, but maybe like have an assistance for the next one, so maybe you don't have that problem in the mix and everything sounds well. Because besides that, I think this is a very good record. I really enjoyed it a lot. And I think Seether's last albums have been as good as their first material. And I'm there to say that I'm enjoying more of their late stuff more than their earlier stuff. And yeah, they're a band that it's a nostalgic trip to the early 2000s when you listen to this record, because that's what it sounds like. But I want to know from you, Cultures, what do you think of the Surface theme so far by Seether? Comment what are your favorite tracks on this record. And if you like the videos that I'm putting out, do not forget to give me a like and do not forget to subscribe. That helps me with the YouTube algorithm to get to more people like yourself. So until next time, couchers, this is Hector, the Shield Dude on a couch, and I'll see you all right here on the couch. Thank you and goodbye.